Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Welcome back in. It is the Ravens Wrap Show, the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens, 93.5 The Beach, broadcasting from the Ravens Room here at the Blue Ox in Ocean City, 127th Street and Coastal Highway with Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand, guys. And Roost 44 in Kansas City this past weekend for the game. So showing their purple pride out in Kansas City, Missouri. So we'll be talking with some of them in the next segment, some question and answer segment. We'll also ask them how the trip was. So I know the Ravens appreciate all the support out there. Hey, I wanted to let you know a couple of things. First and foremost, next Wednesday, we've got owner Steve Bisciotti who's going to be joining us once again for the program, so that's sure to be an extra special show. So hopefully we'll see you down here next Wednesday at the Blue Ox. And, of course, you don't have to be a member of Ravens Roost 44 to come on down for the show. We invite all the Ravens fans in Worcester, Sussex, Wycomico, all around the Lower Shore, and actually all of Delmarva to come on down to the program where we give away a free Nike official Ravens jersey each and every week, and you get tickets for a drawing for Ravens games. That's right, tickets to see the Ravens play. And the next one coming up is they take on the Raiders in November 11th to be exact. We'll do the drawing on the Wednesday before the game on November 7th. So we're making it more than worth your while to come on down to the program here, a chance at a free jersey and tickets to see the game. Well, as we continue the conversation, the Ravens a 9-6 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. And guys, you brought up, Bobby, you brought up a good point during the break about, we talked in the first segment about the Ravens defense and how, especially in the first half, that defense was gashed with the running game, 125 yards on the ground from Jamal Charles. But you alluded to the other side of the ball playing a factor in that.
Absolutely. I mean, the Ravens defense could not get off the field, but the offense couldn't stay on the field. You know, we were 3 for 11 on third downs, and that's been something I know the Ravens want to improve on. But that's really a big factor. If you go no huddle, you go hurry up, and you're not converting first downs, you're going to get off the field. Your defense is going to get tired. And I think anybody who watched that game, you could see that they were just running the football, jamming it down the defense's face, and they spent a lot of time on the field in the first half. And fortunately, in the second half, it changed. But really, the offense has to step up. In particular, they had a couple chances to score. I know Flacco, the receivers had 5 drops. You know, and Buddy and I were talking about this. You know, one of the things about the Ravens receivers, it doesn't seem like anybody runs wide open. It seems like Joe has to throw them open a lot of times. They have to make great catches because somebody's covering them. You know, it's not like a guy's got a 2 or 3, they're wide open, they catch the ball and run.
Absolutely. You feel like more than anybody else you watch on TV, he has to make perfect throws to move the chains and keep the ball going. And I don't understand it, and I don't know enough about football, but it seems to me like our receivers could get open, could get more wide open, make the throws a little easier for Joe.
It seems like, too, I think a lot of teams are having some success pressing our receivers. Obviously, that's in putting their hands on it. Right. Philadelphia obviously had some success up there, and they have a great defensive backs. Kansas City has good corners as well. So I think they were very physical, and I think for Ravens fans, too, it's a little frustrating because if you watch the Ravens defense, we're almost the opposite. We play very soft at the corner position a lot of times, don't jam the receivers, obviously not trying to give up the big play. But, it can be said that, our receivers a lot of times aren't wide open. They have to make good plays. And we had 5 drops in that game. And some of the passes, Bowden dropped 2, and both of them should have been caught.
Yeah, no, and I want to get back to the offense in a second. We'll flip that back to the defense for a second, Steve. We talked about the adjustments that the Ravens made in the second half to thwart the run of the Kansas City Chiefs. What were some of those adjustments?
Well, they found that what was happening in the first half is they were so excited they were over pursuing. They were actually getting 2-3 yards in the backfield, and because Kansas City had a zone blocking scheme, that really opened the lanes up for them. In the second half, what they did was they held on to their blocker, and you can see on one play, Haloti not actually threw the blocker at the running back, which is funny because he was actually showing where Ray Lewis was talking to, hey, throw the blocker at him, and that worked. I don't know, it's a technique that a lot of guys can use, but Haloti definitely did. But they were able to thwart the run by holding on to their blocker and allowing no cutback lanes, and the linebackers filled in the middle.
So basically, instead of going upfield, they kind of stood still and just created a wall, and the linebackers were playing.
And that's what happens with a quicker back, because a quicker back can hit the hole so much harder. If you leave him holes by not coming up the field evenly, he's able to go past you.
Now, to Bobby's point, where he was talking about our receivers being pressed and our lack of pressing by the corners, Steve, I don't think it's a matter that we don't want to do that, but it seems like Kerry Williams and Jimmy Smith they don't feel comfortable doing it. They've said that they don't like doing it. They don't feel comfortable yet. You got to be able to do it. I mean, they're going to have to work into doing that. The coaching staff's going to have to force them to feel comfortable doing it.
We talked about this last week, and they're big, and you would think, but there's such an adjustment coming from college. Like I always think, like the guy's a rookie, he'll come in and start. No, it takes 2 or 3 years for rookies to really figure out the finer points of the game. But, Kerry Williams, we talk about this all the time. He kills me. When the ball's in the air, his back is to the ball. It's like, you learn that in Little League. Look at the ball. I mean, by definition, that's pass interference if he even tries to make a play on the ball, which he did, and they called him for it. But, he's getting better. He's got an interception in the last 2 weeks, and, he is a work in progress. And, I think he's suffering from the lack of Terrell Suggs, where, and that's the guys who are sort of hanging on by a thread. They're hurt by not having the pass rush.
Well, they didn't even try to throw the ball this week, so it's you really can't talk about the Ravens' pass defense or the pass rush this week because it wasn't even an issue.
15 times Matt Castle threw the ball before he was knocked out. Then Brady Quinn threw 3 times. It's amazing. I mean, it was Jamal Charles left, middle, right. It was like the old Ravens offense with Jamal Lewis.
Well, they said Kerry Williams said he was talking to their receivers and said, "Why are you guys not throwing the ball?" And their response was, "It's the coaches." Of course, they're going to throw their coach under the bus, but
well, they did have 4 turnovers though, and 2 interceptions. So that's certainly part of it. I also noticed, guys, real quickly as we wrap up the defensive end, early on, the first 2 series, Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator, was blitzing the run. Now, I know you can't do that every time with a Dwayne Bowen and Jonathan Baldwin on the outside of receiver, but we got away from blitzing the run. Even if we did it just a few times here and there in the successive series, we stopped doing it for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, I think, they go in with a game plan. They try to stick to their game plan. But obviously, after the first half, and I mentioned this earlier, you would have thought they would have made those adjustments a little bit earlier, maybe beginning of the second quarter, midway through the second quarter. But, they had a game plan. That it wasn't like, like Ray Lewis said this, it wasn't like they didn't know what Kansas City was going to try to do. They knew they were going to try to run the football. They're familiar with the zone blocking scheme. They're going to see that same scheme in 2 weeks against the Houston Texans. And they're a good running team. So hopefully we hopefully see the Ravens defense in the second half of Kansas City and not the first half, because against the Texans, you cannot let them run the football like that, particularly in Houston, and expect to win that game.
Back to the offense, though, buddy, talking about the receivers and getting jammed at the line of scrimmage. That's something, again, the Ravens are going to have to overcome that with the young guys. I know it seemed like Jacoby Jones against Philly was the only guy that was able to get off of that, but young guys like Torrey Smith, they're going to have to fight that press coverage and do a better job of it.
They're going to have to get open. We're going to have to convert. The Chiefs were able to keep running it because they stayed close, and they're home, and they're hoping things work out in the fourth quarter. We get a lead, we score a couple times. It's 17-3, or some higher. They got to throw it a little bit. We turn them over. Things change. So it's all a song and dance there, and how it plays out. If we can score, get off the field, defense, we got a lead. Things look a little better.
Yeah, if our offense scores 1 touchdown there, I think that's a completely different game. You're going to see Kansas City try to throw the ball, probably another turnover, field position. I think the Ravens offense has to take control of that game, and they had every opportunity to do that, and they didn't.
They wanted to hand us the game, it seemed like, and we just wouldn't take it from them.
Mike Preston has said this the last couple of weeks, and I agree with them. I think they need to if they can't get off of press coverage, Put Torrey Smith in motion, do some rubs, do some picks, do something creative so you can't just stand there as a receiver and you're still, and then the guy just jams you and you can't get out. Put him in motion. If he's having trouble getting away, make him try to catch up with Torrey Smith, because obviously what they're doing right now with the receivers somewhat is definitely working.
But I think part of the problem with the receivers is that Torrey Smith's only been in the offense for 2 years, and Jacoby Jones is his first year. So they're so worried about running the play that's called that they're not getting off the line of scrimmage. They're worried about should I go here? Should I go? They're not. First thing you've got to do, and back in practice, even in high school, half an hour you're working on getting off the line of scrimmage. How do you get off the block? It's got to happen quicker, and but like you're saying, to rub, to pick, and obviously Kansas City showed what happened on the pick play. Unfortunately, they did a little too obvious and got called for it, but they did it a number of times.
You could do it, but legally.
Right.
But I love that. I mean, put them in motion. Give them a chance, help them out. They're young. Anything you can do to help them, that's great.
Well, the other thing, crossing patterns as well. You might get jammed trying to go vertically, but then you can get off going horizontally. But you need pass protection for that, and that's an area we'll talk about in just a second that didn't exactly hold up for Joe Flacco with that. I thought too, though, guys, on the interception that I believe was the pass to Anquan Bolden, it looked like Joe stared Bolden down a little bit, but Bolden also didn't do a good job of coming back to the ball and shielding, using his body to shield the defender. And I think it was Brandon Flowers that was able to step in there and get an interception. So I partially put that on Joe, but also the receiver as well.
Well, I think the throw was late, too. If you look at it, Bolden had already broke, and then the ball got there late, and I think Bolden was expecting the ball to beat him. But you're right, he needed to come back and try to break that up. But that was unfortunate. Again, we talk about this, seems like every week. Joe throws those 2, 3, 1 or 2 passes per game that you just hold your breath. And you hope it doesn't get intercepted. You hope the guy doesn't catch it. But, you could say that about mostly all NFL quarterbacks. I mean, Drew Brees has had some stretches this year where he hasn't thrown the ball well. Aaron Rodgers isn't playing great football.
Tony Romo,
he had 5 interceptions the other night. So, it's just the way the game goes. If you're going to throw the ball and you're going to spread them out, you're going to take chances, and there's going to be those moments in games where you're going to take chances on throwing interceptions. Just the way it is.
And guys, I didn't get a chance to break down all our first downs, but going to more of a passing game or throwing the ball more than we have with the weapons that we do have, it seems to me though on first down, you take those chances down the field, the more yardage down the field, the higher risk of completing the pass. But if you don't get it, you're really behind. I mean, if you don't get anything, you'd like to at least get 3 yards on first down, obviously, and stay ahead of schedule, as they say. But if that's incomplete pass, then you're 2nd and 10, and then it's likely you're going to run the ball, and you get 3 yards. And then it's 3rd and 7, and the defense knows what you're doing. So if you don't capitalize on first down, I think that's why we're seeing our 3rd down inefficiency.
I think, and that's the bigger thing, is people don't realize that what happens as the season goes along is you get scouted. The first game, I always said the first game's a gimme, because nobody's got film on you, especially this year we were doing no huddle. But, the more games that go along, and you saw it with Philadelphia, you saw it with Kansas City, because we're not running, we're only doing 2 or 3 routes on the route tree. We're not running a full route tree, so it's very easy to scout us.
Guys, we got to wrap this up. We will be back. Lots more to talk to with the Ravens Chiefs, and also looking ahead to the game against the Cowboys. It is the Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Speech TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, 93.5 The Beat.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.